It's a beautiful autumn day here in Sydney today, so I'm going to do some work on the car. There's not really all that much to do, but I bought a part a while ago which I just have been putting off putting on the car just because I'm lazy pretty much, and I have to get underneath the car, which also means I'm lazy. But anyway, I'm going to do it today. So what it is a new alternator bracket. Hooray! I can't remember where I bought this from. I know there's a couple of people that make them. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to put that on. The video's not going to be too exciting because most of the work's going to be underneath the car. You won't really get to see too much. But the exciting part is I'm going to compare the weight of the new one. Oh, I've got to turn that back on. Versus the old one. Hang on, I have to tear it first. Take that off. Okay, 0 grams. I don't do that silly imperial system. We just do metric. 643 grams. So there you go. So I'm going to install that on the car, take the other one off, which I already know weighs a lot, and we're going to compare the weight, see how much we save. And the actual alternator in question is down there. So you can see that red thing, that's the original bracket, which bolts to the block, very heavy. You can't really see it too well down there, but the alternator's down there somewhere. Yeah, you can see a little bit of it there. Anyway, let's take that out. And this is what it looks like from underneath. Now I'm not going to be doing too much videoing from under here because it's a pain. You can see the alternator there. It's not too bad to get to, but last time I put it in I didn't put all the bolts on that bracket that are attached to the block because some of them are really painful to get to without taking other things off. It's over-engineered a ridiculous amount. It's probably the most over-engineered thing on this car is that bracket and the amount of bolts that are on it connecting it to the block. It's just crazy. Alright, I'll go and get my tools and I'll take it off. So the alternator's been removed. I haven't removed it completely. What I've done, you might be able to see it there, I've just sort of plonked it there because it's really hard to get out. It doesn't need to be pulled out completely, so I just sort of tucked it away, sitting it there on the exhaust. And now I'll concentrate on removing those bolts and getting that big bracket off. You can see how big it is, it's massive. It's way too big. It's crazy big. So it's out. I wouldn't say that was the easiest job in the world. Yeah, not super easy. I had to disconnect the exhaust to move it over a little bit so I could get the bracket out because it just didn't want to come out. There was just no space to pull it out. Yeah, so it was lucky that I hadn't done up one of the lower bolts, so I'd thought about it in advance. One of this, I think this bolt here, I hadn't done that bolt up because that would have been a real pain to get to, or maybe it was the one above it. I think it's the one above it, and you can't get that out unless you take the drive shaft out. So if you're ever putting the original bracket back on, don't put those bottom bolts in. You don't really need them. And if you ever need to get it out without taking the drive shaft out, you'll be thanking yourself. So there's the bracket there. As you can see, it's pretty big. So let's grab it and weigh it and see how much it all weighs and compares with the new one. Here's the difference in size. The one on the left is the new aftermarket bracket, and the one on the right is the original. As you can see, it's a monster. It's absolutely huge. Now let's weigh it. I'll put some cloth on here so I don't get the scales dirty, because my wife uses that to weigh things in the kitchen. Alright, let's put this thing on. Whoa, it's even hard to pick up just with one hand. Okay, now there's the difference. Check that out. That's about 3 kilograms more heavy. 3 kilograms, that's a lot. Wow, I wasn't expecting that much. That really is a lot. So I wonder what 3 kilograms will give me in lap times. Who knows? Probably nothing. Anyway, every little bit helps, right? Alright, now let's get this new bracket in the car. And here you can see the bracket bolted to the block, the new bracket. So it's pretty simple, just 2 bolts, 2 14mm head bolts. And yeah, pretty simple. And then the alternator just attaches to that with the original bolt, which is here. and this nut came with the kit. So that is on the bottom of the alternator, and this is the adjuster. So just make sure you make note of where these washers are, because that's important, and that's why they're cable tied there, so you know where to go, where they go. And the belt is different as well. It's a different length. I think it's a little bit shorter to the other one, and that's the part number 4PK813. Doesn't have to be Gates, as long as it's that part number, it will fit. Apparently, we will see. Well, I tried putting this belt on and it's too short. I can't get it to go on. So I'm going to try and put the original one back on. And I'm not sure if this is OEM or not. I know it says Toyota, but you can see it's a little bit longer. So 4PK830. So 830 was the length, and 813 was what I was told would fit, and it doesn't fit. So let's try 830. Hopefully that will work. If not, I'll have to get a different size belt and order that in. So the 830 belt seems to fit. It's a bit hard to see down there. So the bottom bolt is on the alternator. It's just loose, so I can move the alternator left to right, and the belt is sitting on the correct place. To put the belt on, you do it from underneath the car. It's quite easy from underneath. You don't want to do that from the top. So now the next task is to put the tensioner arm on. I think that's going to be a little bit difficult because I don't know where this bolt goes and I can't see it, so I'm just going to have to do it by feel. Wish me luck. I've hit a bit of a problem. So with that longer belt, the problem is, so I've got the arm on the top of the alternator, and at full extension, if you can see down there, that bolt that's sticking out there is where this arm is supposed to go, this black arm that's moving. And unfortunately, at that point there is the furthest that I can tension the belt, about there. So as you can see, the belt is too long. If the belt was shorter, it would be sitting in here and I'd have more play. So I'm going to have to go back a couple of steps and figure out how I can get that shorter belt on. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try and put the belt on, actually take the bottom bolt out of the alternator, and then I'm going to try and get the belt on while the bolt is off, and then pull the alternator out enough to get the bolt on, and hopefully that's the way to do it. So it would have been nice to have instructions, but anyway, I'm making instructions for you all. That was the trick, folks. The shorter belt is on, and the way to do it is to undo the bottom bolt. So you have to have the alternator completely loose, and put the belt on onto the crankshaft and also onto the pulley on the alternator, and then put the bottom bolt in. And it's pretty tight actually. There's not much play in there, but you can do it. Now my next step is to take that bolt out that the torch is shining on, and the one that's connected to that bracket that holds the engine mount, and that's where the tensioner bracket attaches to. And don't forget to put the washer on. That was incredibly fiddly. It's pretty hard to get that bolt off. So let me just shine the torch on it so you can see it. That bolt there, it's pretty hard to get off. I had to remove the vacuum pipe. There it is there. Hang on, where is it? There it is. I had to get rid of that out of the way so I could get a socket wrench in there. But that's all undone, and see if I can get it in there so you can actually see it. So there's the bracket in there. It's a bit of a tight fit, pretty fiddly, but it's there. So the bolts are all loose at the moment, so the next step is to tension it. And to tension it, what you need to do is put a little bit of pressure on the belt, and then the long sort of nut here, hopefully that's the really bright one there, on the left hand side of that tensioner bracket. You tension that up, and then you tighten the other bolts, and then that's pretty much it. Then you connect the cables back on and put all the other bits and pieces back that you took off, to get to everything, and the job's done. And now it's complete. It's all done. Everything's back where it should be. The belt is on, it's all tensioned, everything's tight. And the next step is to just start the engine and make sure everything's okay. Have a look at the top as well. Looks pretty good. Nothing falling off. Let's have a look down this side. The belt's there. Looks like it's on the pulley correctly. Looks good. Let's start the engine. We're going to start the car now just to check that everything's okay. One thing that I forgot to say earlier is that before you start on anything electrical, especially the alternator, is that you need to disconnect the battery, because if you don't, you're going to get lots of sparks and molten metal all over the place, and hopefully you know, you don't do that while you're lying underneath the car with the spanner right next to your face. Yeah, it can be very dangerous, so make sure you disconnect the battery. Alright, so let's start this thing, see what happens. Let's look at this dash. Battery 13.8. That means it's working. That's good. All good. That's it. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to like this video and also subscribe to my channel.